Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is actually taken from a normal game, not from Double Up, not from Ranked, just a game I was playing for funsies here. In this game, we're going to be seeing a disco team composition, and we're also going to be seeing some of the negative side effects of the portal system, which I largely think is good, but sometimes can be not so great. All right, here on the initial portal screen, you're going to see we have loot subscription is one of the choices, which I really do not like. So I am going to go stand in a different portal, Unit Accelerator. Everyone else has gone to the loot subscription, and guess what happens? Well, it turns out that I am the one who gets chosen, and it turns out this does not make some of the other people in the lobby very happy. In particular, this other person immediately starts cursing me and does not like the fact that I chose a different portal. Now, this is not me trying to be a troll. I don't like Loot Accelerator. I really dislike the portal. It is basically Halls of the Nine back from the previous set, which just gives out a huge random amount of loot at the start of every single stage. I don't like this because it just makes the whole game into just basically a big gambling fiesta, and I'm not a big fan of that. So as I said, it is what it is, but it's not one I want to play, and so I'm going to choose something different. But the problem is sometimes with these portals, if most of the lobby wants one thing and then you want something else, people that don't conform to the rest kind of start getting bullied in like a way that's not pretty at all. And well, we're going to see a little bit more about that as this game goes on. In any case, though, I have found a Disco Tarek for a potential headliner here. Disco is very strong in this patch. It definitely got buffed in the most immediate patch before this. Basically, what happened was Twisted Fate ended up getting a buff to his cards. He every time he uses his ult, he gets additional cards that he throws out. So he got stronger, and then a whole bunch of other Dazzler units also got buffed. Nami got buffed, Gragas got buffed, Tarek got buffed. A lot of these units all got stronger, so the trait just got stronger. And then look at this, I find double the funk. Your disco balls affect allies up to 2 hexes away and pulse every 2.5 seconds. So this is just perfect for a disco setup here. And I was like, all right, the game clearly wants me to play a disco setup, so we'll go ahead and do this. I have the disco Tarek, so I get an extra free rank of disco. I have even found a 2-star Nami just randomly. I even have a Gragas here, so I'm able to run Disco 4. And then I kind of have an extra slot. I don't really know what I'm doing with that extra slot. So for the moment, I just have a Corki sitting on the board, although I don't know if that's necessarily the right choice. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can fit in here. I kind of would prefer to have a Bruiser, so I can get Bruiser trait in with the Gragas, or maybe a Guardian. I think a Guardian would be even better to unlock Guardian trait for Tarek, but that's not a possibility here. Now I'm checking what other people are playing in the lobby, and I do see that someone else is running a disco setup there. 1800, great name, 1800 Gank Disco, wonderful stuff there. They are also running disco, but that makes sense because they have a Nami headliner, so I'm not surprised to see that. I was like, all right, so I'm going to be contested by one person here in the lobby, or at least that was my thought process at the time. But in any case, I'm going to be able to win this round. So off to a good start. By the way, Nami did 2,000 damage. And then I'm looking here and I'm like, oh, there's actually some interesting choices here. So what I really want is someone to put TF items on while I'm waiting for TF. And oftentimes you can try to run Nami with that. So Nami would not have been a bad choice. I even have an item remover, so I could have potentially looked to do that. But then I also saw that there were some Annies here, and also a Seraphine, and also an Echo here as well. And some of those units can be pretty good choices to put temporary items on a future TF as well. Annie in particular can be pretty good because Annie uses a lot of the same items that Twisted Fate would want. Twisted Fate is ability power plus attack speed, and Annie kind of wants those items as well. So if you think about what items they build, like Gnasher's Tooth is really good on Annie. It's also really good on Twisted Fate. You can build Spear of Shojin, very good on Annie, also very good on Twisted Fate, etc. So that's why I grabbed the Annies here. I was like, oh, maybe I can play Annie and just have her hold items for TF. That said, I do want to get additional gold here. I want to make sure I'm at 10 gold here for this stage, before the end of this round. So I was like, all right, I need to clear my bench. Echo would not necessarily be bad. because Echo has Spellweaver trait. Echo also is a unit that has Sentinel trait, so he would combine with a future Blitzcrank. And there's also the Seraphine here, and Seraphine can also hold items for TF reasonably well. She is better at the AP side of things than the attack speed side of things, but she's not bad. And I do have 2 out of 3 Seraphines here, so I was like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the Annies. I think it's a little bit less likely I'm going to hit Annie 2-star because multiple people have Annie headliners here in the lobby. And I'm going to, hopefully I can win the round. If that happens, I'll sell the Tom Kench and buy the Seraphine. I also want to point out what this person here is doing. WYD Stepseko. This is the person who typed at the beginning of the match and was not happy with what I was doing. At the moment, they're playing an Annie board. They will not stick with the Annie board, and we'll see what they end up doing as the game goes on. But like I said, they were not big fans of me choosing a different portal, and they're going to do what they can to try and make things unpleasant for me throughout this game. Anyway, all right, so now it's time for our second carousel. I have won the first 3 rounds, so I'm pretty happy with that. Not great that there's a spatula there, so someone's going to be able to get that spatula, but it is what it is. I'm last pick here, so I will just have to do the best I can. I was targeting the cloak at the moment because I thought that the cloak would allow me to make a dragon's claw, and that would be pretty good here. There we go. Now, that's not to say that the glove would necessarily be bad. It could be like a, I don't know, a thief's glove later. It could be potentially jeweled gauntlet later. But I think for the moment, it's definitely better to just go ahead and make the dragon's claw because that makes me stronger right now. As a refresher on what the disco trait does, we're pretty far into the set, but I'll just go ahead and read the description right away. Disco summons a movable disco ball. Allies who stand next to the disco ball gain attack speed and healing every 3 seconds. And higher tiers of the disco ball give you more attack speed and also give you additional healing. Right now I have disco 4 in, that's 10% attack speed, and it is 3% max health. The units heal for 3% max health every time the disco ball ticks. Again, my augment causes the disco ball to tick more often. Ticks every 2.5 seconds, so we heal more frequently. This is a situation where it's better to build through the front line in the early game. Take advantage of that healing. In particular, people who do not have a heal cut have difficulty getting through all the healing that my team is going to have in the early game. So like that person actually has 8 Yasuos already, but fortunately I hit them before they find the 3-star Yasuo, so that's pretty good. The video I posted right before this, I had a Yasuo that just went insane. Yeah, there they go. There they hit the 3-star Yasuo, so that is some good RNG in terms of who I'm hitting in the lobby, because they don't hit the Yasuo until right after I play them. I also see that there's a Bard there, so it's like, oh yeah, I should play the Bard for Dazzler trait. That's worthwhile over playing a Seraphine that activates none of her traits. Now I just need to hope I win this round so I can keep the win streak going and get back up to 20 gold. Anyway, though, as I said, it's better in the early game to play through the front line with Disco Trait, because the idea is damage is lower in the early game, and then you have teams like this which do not have a heal cut, so they just don't have enough damage to get through all the healing that you have in the early game. And Taric with Sunfire plus Dragon's Claw is pretty tanky here in the early game. Now what I would love to get would be a Warmogs for the final item, because I'm going to hope to put these items on Blitzcrank eventually, and the biggest thing that I need now is just more health. Blitzcrank has Sentinel trait, so he gets additional armor and magic resistance. Oh, by the way, why am I buying these Tarics? The logic is so I can sell this Taric, and I have a replacement Taric ready to go. But I just want more health for Blitzcrank, because remember, the Disco ticks work off of percentage of max HP. Therefore, I just want more max HP. And as I said, Sentinel trait already gives armor and magic resistance. So a future Blitzcrank would most want additional health to take advantage of this. Because I have this Disco Augment, I also would really like to place Disco 6 in this game. It's just kind of a natural setup for me to play Disco 6. Would be better in this game than it would be otherwise. By the way, there's an Annie in this store, so I could have theoretically maybe had a 3-star Annie. Or not 3-star, 2-star Annie. But the Seraphines are costing a little bit of econ to hold on my bench, so I'm definitely going to try to play that unit. And I'm going to have that unit try to hold TF items. Anyway, there's a Poppy, which is kind of interesting, but I don't think I can play that. I was thinking, is there any way I can get Poppy on this board? But I don't think so. Now, if I'd been playing the Annie, maybe I could get it on the board somehow, but no. So I am going to look to try to put these, I'm going to try to make some TF items. So Out of what I have here, I think I can do the Jeweled Gauntlet. Now, the other option would be to make a Gunblade, and that's also a good option on TF. But because I have so much healing coming from my augments, and I'm going to try to play heavily into Disco in this game, I don't think I need to emphasize the Gunblade because I'm going to get so much healing from Disco trait. By the way, here's the other person who's contesting Disco. They have the Nami headliner, so like I said, it makes total sense that they'd be looking to play into Disco. My setup's just much better though because I have the 2-star frontline, and as I said, Disco with weak frontline just doesn't really work that well. It works better in the late game when you can play through TF, who does a lot of damage, but in the early game, you kind of want strong frontline if you're going to play Disco. Like, it's much better to have a Disco Taric than a Disco Nami. Anyway. Okay, so now it's time for our second augment. And I'm looking here, I was like, Vampirism would not be bad, but I was like, oh, Pandora's items. I've said before, I like Pandora's items as a silver augment. I actually think that would be pretty good here. And then I get lucky and natural the 2-star Seraphine. So this is nice. I can let my items re-roll on the bench. I also find another Gragas here. Now I can be a little bit more picky about items. I can try to get a Spear of Shojin for Seraphine and future TF. So I'm hoping that one of these vests will re-roll into a tier for a Spear of Shojin, and then I can get a last item after that. I also could make a Bramble Vest here, but no, now that I have Pandora's items, I can afford to be picky here. I want more health, so I'm going to try to build a Warmogs, and I think that if I could get Dragon's Claw plus Sunfire plus Warmogs, that would be really, really nice and synergize with the Disco trait that I'm playing into. So, as I said, I'm going to be a little bit picky here, but I think it's early enough in the game that it's not going to be that big of a deal. And now I can rely on Seraphine to give me a little extra damage. It's really my biggest weakness is my damage is not great. By the way, Taric gets low, but gets one more cast off. Thank you for doing that, Taric. Now, do I have enough damage to finish this off? I'm getting like modest damage from Nami and from Bard. Seraphine, of course, does not have KDA trade in, so she's not as effective as she would be with that. And looks like we're still okay there. I'm a little fortunate that I managed to hit the 2-star Seraphine to give me a little bit more damage. And, oh, this is a big round. 2-star Gragas, 2-star Tom Kench. Again, remember I want frontline and oh, wow. Okay, both of my belts, or both of my items on the bench reroll into belts, so I can just make the Warmogs, which is what I was looking for anyway. That's very nice. Very, very nice. Again, I don't mean to repeat myself, but as I said, the Disco ticks are based on maximum HP. So getting a Warmogs for, I think it gives, I don't know, like 600, 700 additional health. That's just going to be very nice. And of course, I also have Bruiser trade in for a little bit of extra health as well. So my Bruisers being 2-starred also means that they're going to heal more health as well. So my front line is very, very tanky right now. And I'm hoping I can just win streak off of having this like really tanky front line. I mean, this player right here, they recombobulated and they actually have a Ziggs, which is kind of interesting. I want a Ziggs. They're only level 5, but they have a Ziggs. However, they have no damage and no front line, so they just can't even get through any of my units, and they don't kill anything. Again, this is what happens when you don't have damage against a Disco board that's got very strong front line. Is the Disco healing, you just can't get through it. So, all right, in any case, well, there's a TF on Carousel. I mean, that would be great. I will never, ever get that. Someone's going to grab that, so no surprise there. I'm still looking through here, trying to see what people are going to play. Obviously, the TF gets grabbed first. I have Pandora's items, so I can take anything. I would not mind taking the tier just to get the Spear of Shojin out of the way immediately. But that gets grabbed, so I was like, okay. Well, and then I was like, I'll take the sword. Okay. Well, I guess I'm taking another vest, but this is the value of Pandora's items. The vest does not do anything for me. I already have a lot of frontline itemized. What I need now are items for a future TF. But I will just go ahead and let this re-roll into something on the bench. I'm looking for bows, and I'm looking for a tier. So I can make the Spear of Shojin plus, what is it, a Jeweled Gauntlet combination. Those items have decent synergy for TF, and if I can make the pair of them, well, I already have the Jeweled Gauntlet. I'm trying to make the Spear of Shojin. If I can make the pair of them, then I should be in position. Then I just need an attack speed item for TF's last item slot. So that is our goal. I also had the possibility of leveling to level 7, but I didn't really have anything to put in. So I decided to be patient and slow play this. All right, now here's the person again who decided that they just had to type and curse me out at the beginning of the game. What are they playing right now? They have an Annie setup, but no, they're going to look to force Disco as well. And that was when I started to realize, oh, wait a minute, I think this person is forcing TF just because they want to try to troll me in this game. Again, their setup really is not a disco setup, but apparently they're going to head in that direction. Even though I am clearly playing disco and another person is clearly playing disco, they're going to take their anti-board and they're going to shove it into the disco, into what, like the disco square block on the circular peg or whatever. Just because I think that they genuinely wanted me to try to lose this game. Now, maybe I'm projecting so much they didn't type anything to that effect, but to force themselves into disco when two other people were already playing it, I genuinely think that they were just trying to contest me because they wanted me to lose in this game. Like I said, maybe I'm wrong about that, but that was my read on this other player because they really seem to want me to lose in this matchup. All right, I am on a 9-match winning streak, so I very much would like to win this match to keep that winning streak alive going into the minion round. I did realize, I was like, wait a minute, I guess I could just play the Taric. I did have a 2-star Taric on my bench. I guess I'll just play the Taric as well. And I was able to level while staying at 40 gold, so I thought that that made sense. Again, the goal is to get to level 8 as soon as possible. And then we're really hoping to find a disco headliner because I want to play 6 disco. I have not really played 6 disco previously. By the way, we win this round very easily. Apparently, I did not have to level, but I could have potentially hit the Yasuo 3-star player who's win streaking, so there was no way to know that. All right, anyway, and I'll put the Lux on the board. I don't know if that's actually better than the 2-star Taric, to be honest, but I'll just go ahead and put the Lux on the board. And I believe I realized at this point in time, I was like, oh, you know, I have a belt on my bench here. I actually think that I should hold this item because what I want to make is a Gnasher's Tooth, and this is half of a Gnasher's Tooth. So, again, Pandora's Items allows me to be greedy. I can hold this on my bench by putting it on a unit that I don't care about, like the Pantheon. And then I just need a bow to pop out. I'm looking for a tier and a bow. By the way, I also have a Misfortune here. I could potentially play that as well. So anyway, I'm going to level, go halfway to level 8. And I think for the moment, it's actually better to play the MF because, as I said, I kind of need damage right now. My front line's pretty good, but I could use damage. So I'm looking around here, and I'm like, all right, there's one person who's contesting Twisted Disco, and they already have a Disco TF, or they already have a TF right there, so they already have 5 Disco in. I was like, all right, there's at least one other person, now actually 2 other people playing Disco. So I think what I need to do is take the econ from my long win streak and just go to level 8 on the next round on 4-2, and then look to try to find my new headliner. Again, Tarik's been great, but he is getting outscaled. Unfortunately, this round does put me up against the 3-star Yasuo player, and I believe they have 5 true damage in, or 4 true damage in at the moment. Yeah, true damage does not care about how many resistances I have, so they're going to cut right through that front line. And they are going to continue their win streak and end my win streak. I do not have the damage to stop the Yasuo just yet, so that board's looking pretty strong. All right, time for our final augment. It is gold. Thankfully, it's not prismatic, so I'm looking at the different options here. I was looking at the choices. I was like, all right, you know, teaming up gives me 2 4-cost champs. Maybe I can get a TF or a Blitz. And I actually do get the Blitz, so that's really nice. Now I have a Blitzcrank. I actually put one too many rounds of XP there. Anyway, so now I'm really looking for a disco headliner. So I do hit 2-star Lux. Crowd Diver said, no, that is definitely not it. Hyperpop Lulu might be good in other situations. But I was like, no, I'm going to be picky here. So let's put the Thresh on the board. Spellweaver Ari would have been great in another game, but I'm really trying to play disco here. Now, here's the bad news. I roll down. I do not hit a disco headliner. I was like, oh, that's not great. But remember, I actually do need to put these items on someone, or else they're going to re-roll. Remember, I have Pandora's items. I have to put my items on someone, or they will re-roll into other items. I've actually had that happen before. My augment has given me Aegis of the Legion, which is actually pretty good. That I definitely want to put on someone as well. So I'm like, I got to put these items on someone. I don't want my Jeweled Gauntlet to re-roll. I don't want my I don't want that sword to re-roll. So I'll put Aegis of the Legion on this random Thresh that I've hidden, and now I need to get another unit. So I'm going to buy the Riven, put the Jeweled Gauntlet and the sword on her. Again, still holding Proto TF items. And by the way, this is the other person who's playing, well, one of the other 2 people who's playing disco. They have not rolled it down yet. See, they have not gone level 8 and rolled yet. So again, I'm trying to roll before these other people roll. And I'm still looking. I need to find a disco. Unit. I would really, really like to find one. Again, I'm still not finding it, but I do have this duplicator. So I was like, all right, I have 2 out of 3 Blitzcranks. I really love these items. Let's just go ahead and duplicate the Blitzcrank here. Now I'm still trying to get my board in. Let's get the whatchamacallit, the Tom Kench off the board. We can find another bruiser later on. And now I'm still trying to rebuild this board. The big problem is I don't have damage. Now I have frontline, but I don't have damage. I still have this Misfortune in there, who I guess is like kind of holding item. No, my damage items are still on the bench, and I am still trying to find a tier, still trying to find a bow right now. So I'm just trying to be patient here, trying to see if I can hit these. Again, my front line is super tanky, but I do not have damage. So I really am trying to find a Twisted Fate. A Twisted Fate headliner would just be exactly what I need, but I don't quite have that. And then this person, by the way, found the Zig, so now they're playing through Zigs, and all the Dazzler units are like super contested in this lobby, which is not great at all. Anyway, so now I've lost 3 rounds in a row. I went on 1-10 in a row, lost 3 in a row, so I guess that's good for econ purposes. And I'm going to be 3rd pick. And remember, I need a tier and I need a bow. Well, the bow gets taken, or the tier gets taken, but the bow's still there and it's on a Kiana. So I definitely want to take that just so that the true damage player does not get that. And it'll also sell for 5 gold. So we'll use this to make the Gnasher's Tooth. And it'll also sell for 5 gold. I don't think I can play Kiana on this board. I don't have any true damage units in, even though she's a great unit to play. All right, so now it's time to go back to rolling again. We'll go ahead and make the Gnasher's Tooth. Now we can sell the Pantheon. And Riven is holding all of our items here. EDM Lux, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Rapid Fire Kate. All right, 2-star Thrush is kind of nice. But again, I'm still rolling here. And oh, there it is. There's the TF. Okay, I have to get the TF in play. Let's go ahead and do that. I kind of mismanaged that. I could have held on to my Luxes and sold the that Misfortune on my board. But I was just desperate to get the TF in play because remember, I don't want these items to re-roll into something else. But I'm able to find the TF. And by the way, look at this. This is the person who, again, decided to type some not-so-friendly stuff to me at the beginning of the game. They also have gone out of their way to find a TF headliner. Again, they have a Morello's, which is not... A Morello's is not an item you want to put on TF. It's just not a good TF item. So as I said, I really think they were just trying to force the TF because they did not want me to win this game. And oh, by the way, there's a Ziggs. Okay, so that's really nice. And I finally got my tier. So there we go. Now we have the board. I was a little bit selective there, but I do think that was the right play with lots of people contesting this in the lobby. Lots of people contesting the disco. What I wanted to do was roll for my headliner early before other people found them, because if those other players take all the TFs out of the pool, then I can't hit the TF headliner, and it just gets a lot rougher. All right, so I'm pretty happy with what I have here. I do have the 6 disco, which is going to be really nice. Again, synergize is great with the setup that I have here. Now, here's the downside to playing heavily into disco trait. Your units clump, and that means if there's an AoE ult, like the Ezreal just hits literally my entire team there. So this is one of the dangers. You have to watch out for area of effect damage. Good news is the Blitz is totally fine. But that Ezreal is something I have to watch because he killed about 2/3 of my team when he ulted because he hit everything being so closely packed together. Still, I was able to do that transition pretty well, and I'm happy with my overall board setup. Right now, 6 Disco, 4 Dazzler, and then 2 Guardian, 1 Hyper Pop. Now, the one unit that I want to add to this board is Zac. Zac will give me Bruiser trait and EDM trait. And I think that that's what I most need right now. In terms of items, I have enough frontline with 2-star Blitz, 2-star Thresh, and with Thresh having the, the Aegis of the Legion on him. I think I have enough frontline. The Aegis gives additional armor and MR to the units that stand next to it, and also units that are vertically behind it. It also gives more attack speed, so I actually have a lot of attack speed here, which is not bad. All right, out of this, I'm looking at the items, and I was like, okay, well, we want to start itemizing Ziggs and Lux. I would not mind getting some attack speed. I don't have that here. So I was like, but do I put the items on Lux or do I put them on Ziggs? I was like, It's a 2-star Lux, but it's also a Ziggs. Ziggs is the better unit. I was like, I'll put them on Lux for right now, and then maybe I'll transfer them to Ziggs later on down the road. So I have the units that I care about in terms of damage all getting buffed by Aegis of the Legion. So that's additional attack speed for TF, for Ziggs, and for Lux. And then also the armor and magic resistance goes on those units as well. Now I'm back up against what is it? This is the true damage player, the Yasuo 3-star. But look, they actually have not picked up a bunch of their orbs. So it looks like they're actually AFK, which is a little sad. It would be nice to have them actually in the lobby. But that's where they started losing rounds. Apparently they're not actually here. Like I said, it's a normal game. Sometimes people just quit the lobby. Sometimes people do random stuff. But yeah, they're not going to be as strong as they would be otherwise. All right, so again, there's WYD Step Shaco, who's playing a disco board. And then there was another person playing disco as well, but they're actually out of the lobby. That was the 1800 named player. And then there's this person who apparently recombobulated into Ziggs, and they're going for 3-star Lulu along with more Ziggs. So I'd actually like to get them out of the lobby so they can put that Ziggs back in the pool. I'm going to level 9 now though, because I want to get I want to try to get Zach. I actually could use Zach for the Bruiser and then also for the EDM so he can just bounce around CCing people. All right, this is the person who's been contesting me. They have their TF and I have mine, so this is going to be really close. Unfortunately, Ziggs throws his bomb at nothing, but I'm still going to be able to win that round. And you can see how fast the rounds are. There's actually a lot of things accelerating TF that makes him even stronger than usual in this lobby. Anyway, there's a Zach, so I will drop the Sona. I had thought about playing the Sona, but I think I'm going to end up dropping the Sona here because I can't play both of these units, and I want to play the Zach more. I also did think about the Lucian, but then I was like, wait a minute, I actually don't have Jazz trade in. Typically, you would be playing Jazz if you're playing this board because you would have Bard on the board. But I actually don't want Bard on this board. You can see I actually sold the Bard. Bard would be good if I wanted to get up to 6 Dazzler, but it's actually impossible to get to 6 Dazzler in this game because I have a Disco TF and not a Dazzler TF. And if I can't get up to 6 Dazzler, there's not really much point in playing this unit. Obviously, I'm going to play Nami. I need her for 6 Disco. Obviously, I'm going to play TF. I'm going to play Ziggs. Ziggs is a legendary unit. I want to play the Ziggs. And then, I mean, I guess I could play over Lux, but I actually do want to play Lux as well. I could drop the Lux for Bard, but that seems kind of bad to do that. So, anyway. By the way, even though the true damage player is AFK, they still win and knock somebody out there, which is pretty funny. Alrighty, on this carousel there is a Ziggs. I wouldn't necessarily mind that, but I think that the Ziggs gets grabbed by one. Yeah, Ziggs gets grabbed by one of the other people because 2 of them are playing Ziggs. And so I was like, all right, out of what's left over, let's take the Static Shiv. I could also take the Steadfast Heart would also be pretty good for frontline here. And yeah, you see the Yasuo player just is not here in the lobby. But I think the Static Shiv is good because I actually do not have a magic resistant shred on my team. I guess Ziggs has an inbuilt MR shred, but I do think the Static Shiv is pretty good. It's a much better item on Ziggs than Lux, though. So now I'll go ahead and move these items over to Ziggs. And that's my hope, is that I can hit that. All right, I was also fiddling with the Disco Ball. I was like, maybe I can move these units over a little bit so we're not quite so clumped up. But anyway, I don't know if that really did anything at all, because I do want the units to get the Aegis of the Leeches benefit. The thing about clumping, though, is I said it is bad against someone like Ezreal who has an AoE ult. So there is some RNG in this fight as far as where Ezreal's going to toss his ultimate. And Ezreal ended up being on the other side away from the rest of my units. And oof, he actually gets off a nice ult that kills my whole backline. So, yep, I probably didn't want to be clumped in this fight. The Ezreal just blows me up. And that's a little bit sad because their whole team was on, like, no HP. But they did end up winning that one. So I was like, all right, if I hit that board again, I'm going to spread out a little bit so that I don't... I'm going to spread out a bit so that I don't get just annihilated by Ezreal's ultimate. But for the other boards, I might as well just head back here. It doesn't really matter as much if I'm clumped against them. All right, it looks like I'm going to be up against the other Disco player. And they actually have managed to hit 2-star Ziggs. I was like, oh, there's actually a ton of Ziggs out of the pool. I have 1. This other person has 2. And then I thought that there was someone else who had Ziggs as well. So I would really like to beat this person, get them out of the lobby, because they are on 6 HP, and I'd love to get those Ziggs back in the pool. Unfortunately, their Blitzcrank rolled relatively decent items for this round, and it's just a TF card fest. Who can get the TF cards off faster? We're both ulting, but TF gets the ult off like 1 second before my TF ults, and they're actually going to end up winning that round. So I was like, that's a little unfortunate. But you know what I can do? I can go level 9 here. I'm going to put in the Zac, and I actually think that'll make a big difference because Zac bouncing around will definitely help me. Their front line is nowhere near as good as my front line is. All right, while we have a second here on the minion round, I realized I never actually said what 6 Disco does. As I said, 6 Disco is pretty rare. There's only 5 Disco units, so the only way to play this is either to get a Disco Emblem, which is not craftable with a spatula, or have all 5 Disco units plus one of them be a Disco Headliner, which is what I have. Disco 5 is 20% attack speed, and you get 5% max health on the Disco ticks, which again are every 2.5 seconds. Anyway, so I'm going to level. I'm going to go ahead and put in the Zac. There we go. There's Zac 2-star. That's very nice. And I'm also hoping that I can find one more Yorick. I would replace the Yorick with, or excuse me, the Thresh with Yorick, but I don't want to do that unless I can 2-star Yorick. I'd rather have 2-star Thresh than 1-star Yorick, so I'm just holding them on the bench right now. And then I'm looking for items here. I was like, Nashor's Tooth. Great item on Ziggs. This is going to synergize with all the attack speed that I have. Remember, we have the Disco 8, so, or just Disco 8, Disco 6, so we get all the extra attack speed from that. We get extra attack speed from Aegis of the Legion. And the portal that I chose at the beginning of the game that caused all the fuss with this other player actually also gives attack speed as well. It causes all of the units to move faster on the board and also gives, I think, 10% attack speed to all the units. So I'm just looking for one more of these, looking for one more Yorick here. Other than that, my board's pretty set. And then I was like, you know what? Lux is kind of just in here as a trait bot. Lux isn't really doing that much. Why don't I go ahead and put the EDM selector on Zac? Because I think the crowd control from Zac is more important. Anyway, then I'm also going to space out my units. I can see I'm going to be up against the Ezreal board. So I'm going to space out my units a little bit so all my units are just not right on top of each other. And that way, hopefully, the Ezreal ultimate will not just annihilate my setup here. So we are, like I said, we're going to declump because the Ezreal ult is the biggest threat in this fight. I guess Lucian's ultimate also can hit us pretty badly when we're clumped. So we're just going to space out. Where is Ez going to toss that ult? All right, he hit TF, but he did not kill TF. And now we need to finish him off before he gets an extra ult. Oh, the Nami bubble. Nami, super clutch there. Traps the TF in a bubble. And that's going to be enough to wipe out that board, which was definitely one of the strongest in the lobby. Now it's back to me and the TF board and then the true damage board where the player seems to not be present, unfortunately. So now we actually do want to reclump again. There's really no benefit to splitting up on this from this particular fight. So let's group back up again here. So the units I care about are getting the Aegis of the Legion benefit. And that looks good to me. I'm fine with putting Zac in the second row because I want Zac to get at least one ult off. If I'm lucky, maybe 2 ults off. Unfortunately for this player, their Blitzcrank has also rolled pretty bad items on the Thief's Glove this round. Deathblade and Edge of Night, not going to do a whole lot right there. So in the rematch against this board, I am getting to the front line pretty well. Zac is bouncing around, and that is the difference in this fight. The Zac CC. That's going to allow me to win and knock them out. So, yep, Zac bouncing around on top of their head. That was the difference in that round. I got that like 1.5 seconds of crowd control, so TF was not ulting. And the person who desperately wanted me out of the lobby, I am actually going to be able to knock out there. Here I have a Ziggs with a decent item, not amazing item, an adaptive helm. Also could have taken the Thief's Glove. I don't think that would have been bad either. So I'm going to keep rolling here. And unfortunately, I cannot hit the Ziggs. I'm on 2 out of 3 Ziggs, 2 out of 3 Yoriks. I'm pretty confident I can win this round because this player is not present. But we'll go ahead and just put the adaptive helm on someone. I guess I could let it reroll into something else for via the Pandora's items. But I was like, no, I think we're good. I think we're good here. And 6 true damage board. Again, this person does not appear to be here in the lobby. So I think I've got a pretty solid win against them. Maybe they just had to leave or something, but it is what it is. Like I said, I can't control that, but I'm going to look to polish this one off, and I think that I ended up with a board that was pretty good here. Just would have liked the 2-star Ziggs, and then it would have been fun to put the, wow, that was, you can see it's actually somewhat close, but TF does manage to win. Yeah, 6 true damage is always pretty terrifying, just because they can completely ignore all of your armor and magic resistance. So we do end up winning that round. And that's going to be a victory here. So kind of a weird game. Like I said, the initial portal selection, it's the one downside to the portals is people can start trying to like bully you if you don't select what you want. And then I do think I kind of got trolled by that one player. Ended up with 2 other people contesting me. But in the end, I had the better setup. I had the best setup for Disco. And so I was able to win. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope everybody's having a great week. Take care, and I'll see you guys again soon.